This is In the Know for Thursday, September 10, the 254th day of 2020. There are 112 days left in the year. Good morning, MB, guiding you through In the Know at K105. On Litchfield's Country Station, 103.9 The Moose, live online at K105.com, via the Apple and Android smartphone app using the SoundCloud or iTunes podcast, on Facebook Watch, on YouTube Live, on Periscope. And the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Kentucky passes a COVID milestone yesterday. Not a good one. We'll tell you about it. We'll tell you why. We will also have a visit from 2nd District Congressman Brett Guthrie. He'll stop by. We'll talk about things happening at the federal level. That and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire. Here's my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beej. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
We, like many people, occasionally like the treat of having breakfast for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Don't we? Mm-hmm. And sometimes people choose to do that because they haven't gone to the grocery, and that's the only thing that they have. But it is a treat. And do you know why having eggs for dinner is a good idea?
I don't.
They're full of melatonin. Eggs, so you can have an omelet, and they have natural levels of melatonin, which help you rest better. So weird that we eat so many eggs at the beginning of the day when we're just trying to get going. But so if you're looking for a dose of melatonin, then make sure an omelet is in your diet. She's the pride of Pumpkin Center, the heiress to the great mini burger fortune. She's Vera Wang's arch nemesis and a professional bargain hunter's woman of the year. She's Misty Embry Thomas. Hey. How's Misty?
Yeah, I'm well. How are you?
I have some bad news.
Yeah.
There's good news about the eggs. Remember when we were all getting seeds from China in the mail?
I never got anything
China.
from China. China sent me nothing.
We got the seeds from, and we were warned not to plant them. Well,
Yes.
Guess what happened?
Somebody planted them. There was a beanstalk.
Lots of people planted them.
And giants are coming down from outer space.
Possibly thousands of Americans planted the mystery seeds.
Of course we did. We're curious like a cat.
That's right. We couldn't help ourselves. They are various things.
Okay.
The mysterious seed packages were part of what is being called a brushing scam. But some were flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Some were not harmful, but also some were noxious weeds. And some people who are planting them, the things that are growing around them are now suddenly dying.
China. Ugh.
Killer kudzu, or some, I don't know.
Right.
I don't. But yes, you knew though. No, I shouldn't say no one. There were many people who were going to get these magic beans in the mail.
Yeah.
And they had to stick them in the ground.
We've been waiting for Jack and the Beanstalk our whole life, right? Michael would row that boat ashore. The world would have just
Hallelujah. There you go.
Planets would align.
Next week's going to be a great week for growing gourds. Because the temperature is going to cool off. It's going to be nice. Cold front is going to bring isolated rain chances as heat remains throughout the next couple of days. This weekend, going to be a better chance of some scattered downpours and thunderstorms. Next week, cool and dry to start, followed by midweek rain. Partly sunny, 90 today. Partly cloudy, 68 tonight. Partly sunny and 85 for tomorrow. Okay, what to get into this morning? I need to make sure that we're...
Play-Doh sounds fun.
I want to try
Having
and stay.
Play-Doh.
Oh, by the way, we're going to talk about the Toy Hall of Fame later on in the show.
Oh, yay. Who knew?
But it'll be up to Congressman Guthrie on how much time we have to talk about the Toy Hall of Fame.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right.
if we don't get to talk about it, blame him. Don't blame me. Blame him.
Right for Prez.
Grim milestone yesterday. We did cross the 1,000 death mark in Kentucky due to COVID-19. We had been at 996 and expected to go over that on Monday or Tuesday and then suppress numbers. We had one fatality and went to 997, but we went way over the mark yesterday. We got to, I think there were 16 deaths announced yesterday. Yeah, 16 new deaths, bringing us to 1,013. Governor Beshear talked about how if you look at compared to neighboring states, that number is very low. Now, it's not a number to be celebrated, but it is a number to be noticed that compared to our neighbors, Kentuckians have fared better from a mortality standpoint. I recall back I'm going to say in the month of April, because I think for about 2 weeks in March, we were all stunned. And then in April, we started listening and paying attention. And I remember Governor Beshear in his briefings, I think when he had everyone's attention and most everyone was on board, he was talking about the importance of flattening the curve in Kentucky, because the projections then were 4,000 and 5,000 deaths over the coming months. And so I remember him saying specifically, look around, are there 3,000 or 4,000 people that you'd like to live without if we don't work to flatten the curve? And so we can now kind of look back and say, yes, 1,013 is too high. The reason we're talking about it today is kind of like the odometer. It rolls over to a 4-digit number. But I do think we can look back and say, well, by and large, the things that we did probably saved 3,000 to 4,000 Kentuckians to this point by, approaching mid-September. So again, not something worth cheering on the scoreboard, but something worth noting that the sacrifices that we've made have saved a lot of lives. The governor will have the Kentucky State Police Honor Guard do a wreath laying in the Capitol Rotunda. Actually, it's happening right now. Just started a few minutes ago. And then he will do a speech this afternoon, later than normal, about the significance of the milestone. And then I believe he has ordered state flags to half staff for maybe a week or so. And encouraging for those maybe who aren't doing the green lights, maybe to do that again, just as an homage to our 1,000 death mark. 667 new cases reported yesterday. That gives us almost 54,000. We're also closing in on 1 million tests having been performed in Kentucky. We're at 937,000 tests, so about 5 or 6 more days, and probably we'll run over the 1 million test mark. Positivity rate rolling, 7-day average 3.84. A lot of national news coverage today about the president and his comments early on, due to some tapes that Bob Woodward, famous, infamous journalist Bob Woodward, released as part of a book. He's had several ongoing conversations with the president back to March. And it sort of confirms what I was believing what I felt all along, is what you're hearing the president say from a rah-rah standpoint is probably different than some of the intelligence and the information that he's getting across his desk from the task force, et cetera. And so you do, as an American, have to decide, do you want the president who rah-rahs and says, we'll be okay and we're going to get through this and et cetera? Or do you want the president that says, it's bad, it's real bad? So which do you, and he has had peaks and valleys of both. Mm-hmm. He's been more on the rah-rah and less on the, it's bad, it's real bad. But you're going to get people who criticize him that say, well, there was 2 extra weeks that we could have preferred. There were 2 extra weeks that we could have prepared had the president not soft-sold the idea of what COVID-19 was. I'll tell you, that would have given us 2 more weeks of freak out. Yeah. Because let's go back to March 17th, really. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to March 17th and see how a lot of people decided to act. You couldn't buy Charmin. Like no Charmin existed anywhere, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. Remember when the National Guard was coming? Remember when there was going to be martial law? Remember this? Yes. And this is when you had President Trump saying, it's not that bad, it'll be okay, we're going to da-da-da. And he's right, we are going to get through it. Mm-hmm. But I don't want Chicken Little as a president, but I also don't want somebody who's completely hiding the facts from me. So we're going to have to figure out. History will decide, did he do it correctly? And if you want to vote for Joe Biden, then your history is going to suggest that he didn't do it correctly. If you're going to vote for him, I think you're going to look back and say, well, he did the best he could considering the circumstances.
Right.
But yeah, COVID closer to home. Grayson County Health Department Director Josh Embry said yesterday that another Grayson County resident has died due to the virus. That brings us to 15. He also gave us some numbers on the whole as of yesterday. 12 new cases reported yesterday afternoon, bringing us to 322 since the onset of the pandemic, 133 over the last 34 days. So the latest numbers if you're scorecarding. President Trump released a list yesterday of potential Supreme Court nominees. Should he have to make a nomination to the Supreme Court, he has a list of people that he would consider nominating. And one of them is Kentucky's Attorney General, Daniel Cameron. Now, there are several other names on the list that are significant. Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton of Arkansas, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Christopher Landau, and then, but in this list of 20 is Attorney General Daniel Cameron.
That's a big deal. That is a big deal.
It is a big deal. I want to be very clear. I would divert you back to previous shows. I would divert you back to prior to Daniel Cameron even running for Attorney General. Prior to Daniel Cameron returning from Washington after working in Leader McConnell's office, you heard me coming back to Kentucky from visiting the leader's office saying, so impressed with Daniel Cameron, right? From the Heartland areas, from Hardin County, et cetera. I'm not going to use the love word because I don't know him well enough to love him.
I walked in and prayed with him and got him cheese. I love him.
But I admire, I appreciate, I respect, and I am so excited about Daniel Cameron's future.
Yes.
But you can't convince me, President Trump, that Daniel Cameron is ready to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
No, I think Daniel Cameron needs to stay where he is for about, 8 years. Then
Okay.
he needs to run for governor
Sure.
for 8 years. And then we'll talk about Supreme Court justice.
Right. I think in the future, you will be able to get me to wholeheartedly sign on and agree and go, absolutely, Daniel Cameron should be on the Supreme Court of the United States. And now, to be clear,
He's so
I don't
young.
like
he has
the-
so
I
many
don't-
opportunities ahead of him.
I don't like the pandering tone of the list. That's what I don't like. I don't like the timeliness of the list. Is that give us a list of 5? Because if you give me a list of 5, then I think you're serious about that 5. If you give me a list of 20, well, I mean, Misty might have been at 21. She's got a robe and a gavel.
I was at 21. I just wasn't going to tell
so
you all.
my point is that I'm excited that potentially in the future, Daniel Cameron could be Supreme Court Justice of the United States. I'm excited that he may succeed Mitch McConnell as a senator from Kentucky. That's what he's really kind of being considered as his next step. He probably will bypass the governor's office. But just the optics of the timeline of the RNC week before last, and all of a sudden he's mentioned on a long list for Supreme Court Justice. It's just pandering and playing to the base, but again, you'll find you'll probably find a bigger fan of Daniel Cameron than I will, because I see people that are just completely like all in for Daniel Cameron, and I really, really like him, and I hope that he does great things. He's just not.
We have a few things we need him to do in Kentucky before we send him nationally.
That's true.
That's all
He
we're
needs some
saying.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not.
Just
We
a little bit of
need more
time.
time with him.
Yeah.
Like as governor, as senator, right?
Before you
then when
get-
he's in his 50s, I mean, he's what? He's 12 right now. I mean, he's so young.
He is.
He is like 30.
He is a little so young.
Yeah.
Don't
so
you
he's
think?
got a lot of decades still left to serve Kentucky
Misty,
before you all take him
don't you
from
think
us.
he should at least serve underneath a tree on South Clinton Street in Litchfield with a gavel before he goes to the Supreme Court
Yes.
and sits
You-
next to Brett Kavanaugh?
You need to be able to understand the hometown people and the city folk. You need to be a country mouse and a city mouse both.
We got to get to a break. 2nd District Congressman Brett Guthrie is standing by. We're going to talk with him coming up, find out what's happening in Washington and Bowling Green and all over the 2nd District. That's coming up here on In the Know.
Expert care, high technology, hometown kindness. That's Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center. The team of dedicated healthcare professionals at Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center is committed to bringing you quality, compassionate care in a safe and state-of-the-art facility, driven to continuously improve the quality of health in the communities they serve, at the same time promoting healthier and more productive lives and lifestyles, close to home. Reliable, honest, progressive. Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center. Your home, your health.
Honey, listen to this. Our dog and our cat both need pet care products, right?
Uh-huh.
And it costs us a small fortune to buy pet care products. There must be a place online that sells them for less.
Uh-huh.
And I think I just found it. SmartClickPetCare.com.
Uh-huh.
The company behind it is Budget Pet Care, known for top quality. And they've got all the brand name products, Frontline, Advantage, Revolution, HeartGuard, Capstar, and more. All at great prices.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why should we pay more? SmartClickPetCare.com will help us save. Honey, are you listening to me?
Yes, dear. But let's hear what the radio announcer has to say.
Right now, get an extra 10% off plus free shipping on your order at smartclickpetcare.com. Smartclickpetcare.com. Hey, that's a cute dog and cat you have there.
Oh, thanks.
Pay less for quality pet care products. Smartclickpetcare.com.
Look around your home, and there's probably something that was made right here in Litchfield. Leggett & Platt is a worldwide corporation making a wide range of products, including sofa sleeper and reclining hardware assemblies here at home. A portion of your Ashley, Lazy Boy, or England furniture might have been made by one of your neighbors. Join the Leggett & Platt team today. We're a one-shift operation with competitive wages, incentive pay, benefits at 90 days, and a discount stock program offering after 6 months. Applications for production trainees are available in the front lobby with a convenient drop box. So stop by the office at 435 at Embry Drive and start your path to a career with Leggett & Platt. We need 30 new trainees immediately. So join the team where our motto is, we work hard so you can rest easy. Leggett & Platt is an equal opportunity, affirmative action, veteran and disability employer.
Down here in the South, we like good coffee that's freshly brewed, warm, fluffy biscuits, and a delicious breakfast that suits your fancy. Like a savory sausage biscuit with egg or a tasty single sausage, gravy, and biscuit from McDonald's. Now, just $2 each. Head on over to McDonald's, where breakfast is Southern-inspired and Southern-approved. Price and participation may vary. Available when product served. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Sony is getting into the podcast business. Bloomberg says the world's second largest music company plans to release nearly 40 podcasts this year and is developing more than 100 original programs. The move represents the biggest investment in podcasting by a major music label, with the thinking being that if Spotify and other music streamers continue to grow their podcasting businesses, they'll pay less in music licenses to the big labels, and Sony is trying to get ahead of that trend. AT&T and Amazon now allow customers of both to make and receive phone calls via their Amazon Echo smart speakers and displays. This will be one of the first times people can register their existing phone numbers to their Alexa account and receive phone calls directly on their Echo devices. Postmates is now the official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. The season kicks off Thursday, and it seems like a particularly appropriate year for a food delivery partnership, since most fans will be watching games from home rather than at a stadium or at their local sports bar. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News.
Today is TV dinner day.
Oh, yeah, my husband loves those.
It is also International Hot Dog Day today.
Again.
Hot dog, hot diggity dog.
I'm over hot dogs.
He's not only the 2nd District Congressman representing Kentucky, but he's an expert on hot dogs. He's Congressman Brett Guthrie. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I do love hot dogs. How did you know? I don't know if I'm an expert, but I do love hot dogs.
I had a sneaking suspicion. Do need to ask you, it may be polarizing politically, but I'm one of the people who do put ketchup on a hot dog.
I do too. Now, if I get the Chicago dog, it depends on what I get. If I'm just going to have a hot dog with a weenie and a bun, I do mustard and ketchup. But if the Chicago dogs, I don't think you put ketchup on a Chicago dog, but that's got it's like a salad on a dog.
That's exactly right. No ketchup.
My daughter went to college in Chicago, so we get dogs whenever we're up there.
Hey, at least next time.
They're like regional, like pizza. Like Chicago puts a lot of stuff on their pizza.
Right.
And they put a lot of stuff on their hot dogs.
Next time that you sponsor the Grayson County Chamber of Commerce luncheon, I expect hot dogs to be on the menu. But
we should do that and give people a choice of New York dogs, Chicago dogs, Southern slaw dogs.
It was a virtual. It was a Zoom meeting I saw you on recently. And then last week I noticed that your annual Academy Day looked a lot different, but you still forged ahead. I know that's something near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, you need to do that, and we are abiding by the guidelines, and I know that we really couldn't find a place that we thought could use half capacity and manage that. So, the issue with Academy Days is typically people that are younger, that are, freshmen, sophomores who come and try to see what's going on at the military academies. But the ones who are seniors this year, so if anybody's listening and they're interested and they're a senior in high school, it is crunch time, and they need to make sure they contact our office if they're interested in the academy or go to their guidance counselor. That's how we're working with people to try to get the word out. But hopefully the people who have the initiative to want to go to a military academy are already been working on that for a while, so I don't think we're surprising them by saying, hey, if you want to go, you need to start. You should have started 2 years ago, but you can start now. It's not too late, but make sure you get your work in.
Of the 5 service academies, is there one that's, I shouldn't ask you this,
that's better than all the others?
I was going to say.
There's only one. I think it's West Point, the Army and the Navy, right?
Okay.
I can even say that because even politically, I have an Army base Army post in my town.
That's
so,
true.
I'm in my district, so, and in your listening area, so I can easily say that, right? But I believe it to the bottom of my soul.
Yeah, I had to ask you because I knew what the answer would be.
Navy.
A lot of ground that I want to cover with you. By the way, I didn't ask Lauren if you had a hard stop, but do you have plenty of time this morning?
I do have plenty of time. As much time as you have. I think I have something at 10, so I've got time to
All right,
talk to you till then if that's good.
We'll be really good. Before we get into some of the things that maybe seem urgent, talk a little bit about the importance of people in the 2nd District taking the census. We're in the door knocking stages, but you probably more than anyone understand the perils that if we were to go from 6 congressional seats to 5 and redistricting, just talk about the importance of people participating.
Well, you're right. So the congressional districts, state house districts, state senate districts are all decided by the annual, the semi-annual, or the 10-year. Was that decuannual? I'm not sure what the right term would be.
Yep.
But every decade we do a census, and apportionment of Congress is based on the census, and there's only 435 seats. So they take all the numbers, they divide it up, and each state gets apportioned. And, Kentucky used to have, I think, 100 years ago or more, had over double seats, double-digit seats, and are down to 6. And that just is influencing Congress. That is, of course, I feel like I carry the weight more than 10, right? But I'm
sure.
But it's influence. California has 53 members of Congress. Kentucky has 6, and it also a lot of programs are based on what's the number of people formula, your gas tax, and different things like that are based on population. Right. And then state programs are based on population. So it's important that everybody answer the census and answer it accurately.
It even changes the electoral math. I know sometimes Kentucky thinks it doesn't matter presidentially, but, we got 8 electoral votes. If we go to 7 or even potentially 6, that...
it makes a difference. And one vote was the difference in George W. Bush and Al Gore.
That's
so
right.
If you're a George W. Bush fan, that one vote mattered. If you're an Al Gore fan, you wish you had another vote. So it's all important. It's absolutely important.
In your district, in a COVID era in the 2nd District, and particularly Grayson and surrounding counties, it feels like more and more that there's a polarization or that we're politicizing COVID-19 in a way. From your perspective, if we were talking about COVID-18 or we were talking about COVID-21, would we be talking about it differently than we are because it's a presidential election year?
Well, I think it is a presidential election year, and there are people, no matter what the president does, are going to attack it, and there are people that on the other side around. And so what I always like to say, for instance, the here's an example. Center for Disease Control puts out a lot of guidelines. And I know Frankfurt has used guidelines to say you got to wear a mask, you got to sit down, the CDC guidelines. And so Frankfurt puts out a lot of policies based on what the Center for Disease Control said. They said the other day to be ready by November 1st to distribute a vaccine. And there was some pushback from Frankfurt. Well, we don't know November 1st is the right date. A lot of the headlines, if you actually read into the stories, actually said the right words. Well, it could happen or whatever. But, November 1st is an important date because November 3rd is the election.
Sure.
And you just wonder, so CDC says one thing and it fits your narrative, so you use it. They say another thing and it doesn't fit your narrative, so then you kind of push back against it. either it's the standard or it's not. And that's the frustrating thing that I see, because I'm on the oversight committee for the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Fauci,
right,
on the Center for Disease Control. So I've been in the middle of this and trying to discern information when you see what's been reported. Here, the best example is yesterday. If you got on Drudge, it would say AstraZeneca, which is the University of Oxford University vaccine, stopped their vaccine, and it said adverse effect, and all the headlines basically were like they had a big problem with their vaccine.
Yep.
And we absolutely don't know that. And so in abundance of caution, AstraZeneca said, we've had somebody in our trial get sick. We need to stop and see if they got sick from the vaccine. Now, there are 15,000 people in their trial. So if I had 15,000 people that I just randomly identified and watched them for 4 months, there's some odds that one of them is going to get sick. There's some probability that somebody's going to have a heart attack, a stroke, just because there's 15,000 of them. Now, did they have it from the vaccine or not? And, some people who look at this say, well, if there's just one and 15,000 people have the vaccine, it's probably not from the vaccine, or maybe they had a pre-existing condition from the vaccine that we need to know. But it seemed like everybody wanted to cheer on that the vaccine didn't move forward. And I don't know why in the world you would want to, whether you love President Trump or you don't like President Trump, why in the world would that be kind of banner news and almost like, wow, so it's not going to happen by the end of October. That's not even the one that they're expecting to be, that could be out by the end of October anyway.
Right.
There are actually 6 vaccines in trial, and they think that Pfizer may have enough data to say it's safe and effective at earliest late October. But probably most likely by December, their vaccine is going to be, I think, approved, and we'll start vaccinating people. I think that's very optimistic, and whether it happens before November 3rd or not, people need to understand, I think, that the White House has been pushing this, and within a year of getting coronavirus on our shores, we're going to have a safe and effective, approved by the FDA vaccine. It's pretty phenomenal.
I read an op-ed talking about that I think that you were part of, talking about the certainty that the FDA would guarantee safety of a vaccine. Talk a little bit about that. It was nice to hear the posturing or the confidence in the statements that you were part of.
Well, it will be approved by the FDA. Okay. So it will be approved by the FDA by any other standard of any other medicine. If you watch any ad on television about medicines, what do they do at the very last 5 seconds? They have somebody with a very fast voice go, it could cause this, that, or the other, because there's always some kind of side effect to anything. So when you say guarantee 100% safety, I want to say it will be approved by the FDA as safe and effective. And that's the standard of every vaccine. So it'll be approved to the standard of every vaccine, whether it's measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox vaccine, all the vaccines polio, it will be approved to the exact same standard. Matter of fact, a little higher, because typically in the final phase of a study, they do 5,000 or 6,000 people. Each vaccine candidate is doing 30,000 people. So we're going to know 15,000 people will have the vaccine, 15,000 will have the placebo. So there's going to be 45,000 people with some version of the vaccine that have it now, actually, that they are studying. And they had one person get sick or had an adverse effect. They didn't say what it was. And they don't know that it is vaccine related, or they just, I could get sick today and I don't have the vaccine, not from COVID. If they got sick from COVID, obviously the vaccine wouldn't work. That's not what happened. So, I could have a heart attack right now and I didn't have the vaccine, so it wouldn't be related. That's what they're studying, and it will be produced by the FDA. It will be if one is released for distribution, which I think will happen. I'm very optimistic about it anyway. It will be approved by the Food and Drug Administration to the same standard, if not higher, than any other vaccine that's available.
So the on-ramp to our dialogue the last 3 or 4 minutes was about polarizing and politicizing. And it's interesting to see the numbers. Vaccinations were already a political or a kind of a hot button issue. Your vaxxers versus your anti-vaxxers. And then in recent weeks, you're seeing new studies that say, a lot of people say, well, I'm never going to take it, or I don't want to take it, or whatever. What do we do to get through to people to give them the confidence that for the safety of everyone involved, this is going to be a good idea?
Well, there are some people today that won't take vaccine. They just won't take them, and that I get that. And I'm actually reading a book about the gold rush and people who were trying to get from New York took the route to Panama and had to cross the Isthmus of Panama. And a lot of them died just from yellow fever and malaria and things like that. And I mean, the idea that if you were going to go to Panama today, you wouldn't get vaccinated you wouldn't go to Panama. It does work. There are. I know I've had discussions with people on vaccinations, and people have different opinions. I don't think the federal government should make it mandatory. But when people try to just reach out and attack the vaccine because it's coming out of President Trump's White House, when they know, if they do any research at all, that the FDA is going to approve it with a board of scientists like any other vaccine, that's not helpful. It's disingenuous, because you have to have at least 70 or 80% of the people take the vaccine in order to have herd immunity so that it's effective. And I guess we could walk around in masks and gloves and not have the restaurants open and not have the Final Four or at least live version of people playing basketball, going to Rupp Arena, if people don't want to get vaccinated, if the vaccine's available. But that's a choice that we have to make as a society. But if we have a safe and effective vaccine, I think people have religious exemptions. They have other exemptions that they want to do. School systems and states are going to have to decide, is this going to be like measles, mumps, rubella, that we're going to require people to be vaccinated before they come? That's a state and local decision. But I will say the vaccine is going to be approved by the FDA to be safe. And the interesting thing about this, they're not even using the COVID virus to make the vaccine. There's been about a decade of research on the coronavirus. MERS, SARS, H1N1, bird flu, all of these pandemics that were supposed to hit are coronaviruses. And so they've been doing research on it. And matter of fact, hopefully getting to what they call the universal flu vaccine. Flu is a coronavirus. And they're looking at a common protein. And they're not even, so the vaccines they're making aren't even using COVID. They're using a coronavirus that's inert, putting a protein that's common to the coronavirus that helps it replicate. And then your body, when you put the vaccine in that's not COVID, it reacts to the protein, attacks the protein. And the theory is, and they've had success, and this is where they're in the 30,000 person studies now, is as long as the antibodies react to the protein, you can't get coronavirus, because you could get it, but it won't replicate. So it doesn't replicate. It can't do your body. It can't do what it does to you. So
sure.
So they're doing everything they can to make sure it's as safe as any vaccine that exists.
Very good. I always laugh at the principle or the analogy that the Americans don't like Congress, but they love their congressperson. And so we rely, we like you, then we sit back and look broadly at Congress and go, what are those folks doing there as our insider, as our eyes and ears inside Congress? What do you make of the back and forth between the Speaker Pelosi and Leader McConnell, and additional stimulus and funding, and where do we stand? What's your perspective on that?
Well, so you hit a very valid point. I mean, I passed a bill on college loans and so forth with a lady, and we can get into it later if you'd like, but it didn't pass the Senate, but so it's still sitting there. But Suzanne Bonamici from Oregon, Portland area, as a matter of fact, and we passed the bill, and I looked over at her the next day. I said, "Hey, Suzanne, did you get a call from MSNBC to go on television to say how you were working with a Republican to get something done that's important for your district?" Because I didn't get the same call from Fox News. And so the issue we're dealing with this in the age of cable, it is certainly entertaining to watch. I have friends of mine that are on Fox News about every other night. They are they're on typically from the Judiciary Committee that deals with Russian stuff, so forth. And so I don't think, and we've kind of reached out or talked to people about why don't they have more people on Fox talking about the vaccines and the thing that's really going to change people's lives. I'm not dismissing the Russian hoax and things like that. It needed to be investigated and exposed for what it was. But I think I didn't see last night. I think it was something similar to that on TV last night. We're in the middle of a pandemic. And so there are people that work together. There are people that try to get things done. It is, I think, certainly American to have different opinions and argue over them and fight over them. But when it just becomes a constant barrage from evening television, typically cable television, two networks, CNN and MSNBC, one side and the other, and particularly when I'm not one that says they just make things up and put it out, but they certainly let the facts out as they would like to know. For instance, the AstraZeneca yesterday, it was easy to say, which is absolutely true, there was an adverse effect in the vaccination study, and AstraZeneca had to stop. What they didn't say was somebody got sick. There's 15,000 people in the pool. You can get sick from anything, and they're going to stop the vaccine to say, were they sick from the vaccine? Were they not? This is the vaccine that's come out of the University of Oxford University in England, and so we have a lot of confidence in it, but they're going to stop out of abundance of caution to make sure when it's available, it's safe and effective.
That's
what they could have said. That's not what they said, though.
Don't confuse me with the facts. I'm just going to put a headline up there that serves my purposes, but you don't really want the minutia.
You get to. And the thing is, you wonder, and I'm, as you know, I'm not one that tries to get on and throw bombs or at anybody, but you sit back and you wonder, why would they present the information this way when people who hear this are going to say, well, that makes less confidence in a vaccine, therefore not take the vaccine, therefore get longer in this pandemic, only because they think it may come out by the end of October, which would have a positive effect for President Trump. That's where you get to where journalism has become political and not really arbiter of the facts. It's become just being political.
That's right. Yeah, it's become factions, and depending upon what side you line
up.
It's
an arm of the it's an arm of the Biden campaign. Quite honestly, two networks.
We've got just a couple of minutes, but I want to something more. I mean, I wanted to spend most of our time on vaccines, of course, and your work there.
Good.
But tell me, I saw something come out of your office yesterday. I'm not smart enough to know what blockchaining is and what a blockchain act might be. Can you give those of us walking around, with a third grade education, what's a blockchain? What's that mean?
Well, am I fair to say that I'm not sure what blockchain and Bitcoin and all that, how that works, and that's
right.
What we're trying to get to the bottom of.
Okay.
So Congress obviously has the constitutional, directly enumerated responsibility for currency and regulating the currency and coining money and so forth. So blockchain, the question that I have with it, and we're trying to get the government definition so Congress will know how to react to it, is Bitcoin and blockchain, it's where people can go in and buy essentially currencies. It's a fake currency. It's not a real currency, but if I'm going to buy it and somebody's willing to buy it for me at a higher price, then I make money on it. And so it's a speculative thing. And is it going to lead to becoming a new currency that people do everything without the dollar, or is it just a speculative investment that people make? If it's a speculative investment that people make, then it's their money. Let them do with it what they want. I don't think the government should really get involved in it. And somebody wants to risk as long as it's not fraud, as long as somebody is with the information they have willing to take a risk, then the government's just out of their way. But if this is leading to becoming a form of global currency as opposed to the dollar, then we have reasons to be concerned about it. And I'm with you. I'm not sure I know exactly the reasons to be concerned about it. And so what we really did is direct the Department of Commerce to come up with a commission or a group to define blockchain, how it works, and kind of from a government perspective, so we'll know how to react to it. If it needs to be regulated, like I said, I'm not sure that it does, but we need to get the best information we can to make the right decision. So
I remain amazed.
I'm with you. I think what we're trying to do is define blockchain. I understand Bitcoin. I've read about it and so forth, but I'm not really sure how it's going to affect.
I remain amazed on energy,
which is important.
Energy and Commerce Committee, all the things that you all have to take up that are so complex and complicated. I remain in awe of what you have to learn to just be at least educated on the issue.
Too, don't
That's
we?
exactly
radio
right.
Stations are in our purview.
That's why we love you so much.
Vaccines to radio stations to Bitcoin.
That's right. What's on the schedule for you in the next couple of days?
Well, doing 9/11. They're doing a First Responders Memorial in Owensboro tomorrow. I hate that I missed. I didn't miss. Well, I think that we didn't have. I hate that I was not in Litchfield last Labor Day. I think it's the first Labor Day I hadn't been there in 10 or 12 years with the Fair Parade.
Mm-hmm.
I hate missing that. I guess Caneyville's not having that. I know Honey Fest is not happening.
Nope.
So I hate to see these things happening, but we're trying to get out where we can. So they're doing a 9/11 memorial. It's outside, socially distanced, and tomorrow they're doing a First Responders Memorial in Owensboro tomorrow. But then back to D.C. next week. So Congress is finally, after 6 weeks, Speaker Pelosi's calling us back to get back to work. We keep saying if the Congress is essential, there are people going to work every day, and so Congress should be out going to work. But I say that knowing that when we're home, we're still working.
Of course.
But we need to be in D.C. working on the big issues of the day.
Well, show up to work on time. Do us proud. Thanks for the time, as always.
Thank you, as always. Appreciate it very
Thanks.
much. Thanks,
Congressman
Mark.
Brett Guthrie, 2nd District Congressman representing Kentucky, headed back to Washington next week. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got plenty more here on the way on In the Know.
If you're looking for a new, exciting opportunity, then apply at McDonald's today. McDonald's offers competitive weekly pay, including a $200 sign-on bonus. Work flexible hours and earn paid vacation. While you work at McDonald's, get 30% off your meals, including free meals during shifts. And if you're a college or high school student, you can get bonuses for good grades. Simply apply today at mcdonalds.com/careers, text apply to 36453, or stop by your nearest McDonald's and pick up an application today.
I'm Amy McGrath, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
7,000 miles. That's how far China is from Kentucky. But given how Mitch McConnell votes in the Senate, you'd think he was China's senator instead of Kentucky's. Over his 36 years in Congress, Mitch McConnell voted for 14 trade deals, shipping jobs to countries like China. Mitch McConnell's trade policies even led to N95 mask companies outsourcing production to China. And then when we needed those masks during this pandemic, China confiscated them. China blocked the shipments of life-saving masks to the United States because they could. Mitch McConnell's trade policies have made China richer and their military stronger. And you know who's made millions from China? Mitch McConnell and his family's shipping business. Mitch McConnell, 36 years is long enough. Paid for by Amy McGrath for Senate.
It's a huge weekend of fun, food, and activities at Joel Ray Sprouse Lincoln Jamboree in Hodgenville. All weekend, the campground is free with all new electric hookups for campers. On Friday night, there's an all-you-care-to-eat seafood buffet from 5 until 8 o'clock. Saturday and Sunday, a huge breakfast buffet will be served for only $5.99. On Saturday, there's free activities all day, including an outdoor flea market at 11 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, a huge home-cooked meal will be served with all your favorites in the restaurant. Then at 8 o'clock, the patriotic show of a lifetime will take place, featuring Charles Durham, Ricky and Tiffany Lynn Puckett, Christy, Alex, and Wyatt Miller, the king of impersonators, Greg Tate, national award-winning Loretta Lynn sound-alike, Emily Portman, Classy and Grassy, Amy Lynn Brown, and Michael Goodman, along with Jay Henderson and all of Joel Ray's Jamboree sweethearts and fabulous Kentucky Colonels. For reservations, call 270-358-3545, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. There's a Sunday matinee impersonation show, too. Make plans to celebrate 66 years in style all weekend at Joel Ray Sprouse Lincoln Jamboree in Hodgenville. Wow, what a weekend of food and entertainment.
Hey, honey, I'm about to head out. You want anything from the store?
I don't know. Maybe just grab me one of whatever you're getting.
Oh, well, that's perfect, since I'm gonna get the new iPhone at Bluegrass Cellular.
Ooh, you're getting an iPhone?
Yeah, and you're getting an iPhone. At Bluegrass Cellular, you can get an iPhone XR on the house when you buy any of the newest iPhones and add a line.
Well, what are we waiting for? I know you've had your eye on an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I may have had my eye on the iPhone XR.
Well, I'm impressed.
With what? 2 iPhones for the price of 1?
No, you actually know what you want from the store.
Ha, Mr. Funny Guy. Hey, since you're so smart, why don't you finish out the commercial?
I will. Restrictions apply. Visit Bluegrass Cellular online or in store. Bluegrass Cellular, your community expanded.
K105 Weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather.
Still
looks like our rain chance will begin to spike a bit more toward the weekend, especially Saturday night into Sunday, but not for all areas, so we'll need to fine-tune that forecast as we get a little closer. This afternoon, there's actually a small rain chance for southern areas of Indiana. Most of us will stay dry, hot, hazy, humid, high temperature right around 90. The Wave 3 News Storm Tracking Team. I'm meteorologist Brian Good.
Feel it in the air. The wind is taking it everywhere. Yeah.
Did you know about 10% of people are left-handed, but about 20% are left-footed?
What's that even mean?
So you get, you're not, you don't know if you're left-footed or right-footed?
I would have to go back to marching band to see how I take off.
Now, Misty, you've been trained to lead with your left foot. So even if it was not your natural foot, you've been trained to lead with your left foot because that's when you march in marching band. It's left, right, left, left, right, left. So
Yes,
you lead
you're
with
right.
your left.
Okay, this is why I didn't stick with the marching
So
band.
I'm a left leader. Like I'm left,
Yep,
I'm left-handed and definitely left-footed. But there are people who are right-handed but left-footed. If you were going to kick a ball, here's a good example. If you were going to run up and kick a ball, which foot would you use?
Right.
And that
Right
will,
foot.
Okay,
Right foot.
then you're right-footed.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but before,
Great test.
I would be curious to know how many people prior to marching band, because that teaches you what your different lead foot is. It's
Yeah.
just, and I put my left shoe on first every time.
No,
Left
I
shoe
start with my
first.
right foot.
Me too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But if you were to march, you would take off with your left foot.
Well, but when I come up the sidewalk, it's always my right foot that I step up
with.
first.
Yep.
So you're right-footed and right-handed. But it's funny
Ooh, that
how
was a thing.
1 out of 10 people are left-handed, but 2 out of 10 people are left-footed. That's all I'm saying. You might want to fire off a sternly worded tweet to Congressman Guthrie, because now we don't have a lot of time to talk about the Toy Hall of Fame.
Oh, it's okay. I enjoyed learning about the vaccines
but
and the
we
virus.
did find out what type of hot dogs that he likes.
Listen, you weren't kidding when you said he was a hot dog expert.
He really
Who knew there were so many
Right.
types? He knows everything.
By the way,
But I love it. That's fantastic for me.
I should have saved it. Do you know the first words spoken by Mickey Mouse was hot dogs?
Really?
Yes. The
Hot
first
diggity dog.
when Mickey Mouse appeared in the comics for the very first time, he said hot dogs. It's a true story. Toy Hall of Fame finalists revealed for 2020. This is important news, so we must get to it. Bingo.
Okay. Yep.
Why didn't that get in long ago?
The good old, basket that's with the crank.
Jenga.
Okay.
I figured
Yep.
Jenga. I figured Jenga was old school because it requires no batteries. It requires no paint. It just requires really a jigsaw. Just cut it up, throw it in a box. There
it
you go.
makes me want to do mean things when it
Me
tumbles.
too.
Though.
I'm
No, I
so
don't like it.
happy about Light Bright.
Light Bright wasn't already in there?
The Etch-a-Sketch was great, but the Light Bright went to a totally different level.
Yes.
Because you could use it as a nightlight, where your Etch-a-Sketch was limited to a lit room.
Yeah. If your mama would let you leave it plugged in.
Yeah. And remember the stencils? You put the stencils on there, and then it was a little hard tearing the stencil out around it,
Yeah.
or you had to leave
My
it in.
kids had a Light Bright. My Maddie had a Light Bright. That was the last time they were out.
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi. My kids have Tamagotchis.
Okay.
And yeah, you have to take care of those things. They're
virtual
obnoxious.
pets.
Yeah.
They were the first virtual pets.
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee. I love Yahtzee.
And Baby Nancy, which is a black doll introduced by Shindana Toys in 1968, is also up for consideration. Briar horses.
Oh, yeah. So my cousin, he had.
What is that? Is that the stick horse?
No.
Okay.
They're really nice, they're really nice. I don't know how to describe them.
Are they almost like models?
Yes.
Models.
But they're very nice.
Right. So,
Okay, so almost like a collector
are these
toy?
the
Yes, absolutely.
high-end action figures that are
Yeah.
toys
Yes.
that
This is
are...
like the John Deere toy tractors.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
little
I got
cast,
it.
metal cast.
Yeah.
Don't
okay.
tell Dennis Cook, but Masters of the Universe is getting into the Toy Hall of Fame, or is at least a finalist
Yeah,
for
that's not
2020.
his jam, is it?
No, he loves Masters of the Universe.
Oh, one of them he's not a fan of. Is it Marvel?
I don't know.
Anyway, go on.
My Little Pony, also in the as a finalist this year. They were My Little Pony was a finalist last year, didn't get in. The board game Risk, Sidewalk Chart, and somehow it's very appropriate that nominated in 2020 is the board game Sorry. If ever a year was sorry, there's your Briar Horses.
There's your Briar Horses. Okay.
If ever a year deserved 2020,
Yeah.
it would be the board game.
It really should be the only game that gets in this year.
That's true.
Yeah.
We got to get to a break. We'll come back, finish it up for the morning here on In the Know.
I used to believe there was such a thing as perfect families. It started with the Brady Bunch. The parents were loving, the kids always seemed happy, and what few problems they had were easily solved. As I grew older, I wondered if everybody else around me had a perfect family too. That's how they all looked from the outside. I'm sure you know what I mean. We've all looked at coworkers, people at church, or friends on social media and thought, wow, that family's got it all together. The truth is, they don't. We all wear a public face that shows us in our best and happiest times. The rest, well, we keep it private. My wife and I don't snap pictures of our kids when they bring home a bad grade from school. We don't pose for selfies when we lose our patience or when we're arguing with one another. I doubt you record those less than perfect moments either. Neither do your friends. All of those smiling kids on Facebook probably talk back to their parents or lie occasionally to get out of trouble. And I'm sure the parents snap at their kids from time to time too, instead of patiently listening. Perfect families simply don't exist. And if they did, I'm certainly not the guy who could tell you how to make your family perfect. But you and I are both in luck because the goal, it isn't perfection. It's a family that's healthy and strong. And that means mom, dad, and the kids love each other and they handle their problems with patience and respect. Anybody can work toward that. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
Down here in the South, we like good coffee that's freshly brewed, warm, fluffy biscuits, and a delicious breakfast that suits your fancy. Like a savory sausage biscuit with egg or a tasty single sausage, gravy, and biscuit from McDonald's. Now, just $2 each. Head on over to McDonald's, where breakfast is Southern-inspired and Southern-approved.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary. Available when product served. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
MB's Point to Ponder for today. Would it be poor form for me to go ahead and start putting 2021 on my checks? Can I, if I fill out the date on a check, it'll make me feel better if I just start writing the date with 21, but I don't know if that'll be.
You know, we turn the calendar from August thinking we're going to step out of Hades right into literally California being ablaze.
Yes, we're going to be
Now
down
the
to
United
49
States is
states.
burning. Yeah.
California is just going to
Burn and fall off.
into a pile of ashes.
And that's if the border is made of sand barriers that it doesn't cross over and burn all of us up by October.
California just went Lot's wife.
When we
us.
see... Like,
kinda
don't
happened.
look at it. You'll turn to salt.
That's right.
Like, it's... Seriously, when we say, oh, well, it's up in flames for 20... Literally, we are now on fire.
Yep.
Oh, good
Okay.
grief.
Well, just don't be surprised if you get, check from me and the date's 21 because I'm trying to
I'm going on 2025.
make myself feel better.
Don't cash it.
On television tonight, if it's post or
Right?
future
Yeah.
dated, I guess you
Yeah.
can't cash it yet.
Predated.
On TV tonight, the NFL returns tonight, supposedly. I guess when I see them kick that football in the air, I'll believe it.
And now I'm going to look and see what dominant foot they
It's
use.
the Chiefs, and we'll host the Texans tonight. So 17,000 fans at Arrowhead. So it will be weird to see 17,000 people spread across Arrowhead Stadium. Holy Moly Season 2 finale is on ABC, and Holy Moly 2, the sequel, is on ABC.
Oh, good. There's two parts to that nonsense.
Holy moly.
Yay!
Today's highlight in history, this date in 1962, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered the University of Mississippi to admit James Meredith, a black student. Speaking of football, 14 years ago today, Peyton Manning and Eli Manning were featured in the first NFL game to feature two brothers at starting quarterback. So they started against one another in that football game. It never happened before.
It hasn't happened since, right?
Correct. Jose Feliciano is 75 today. Bill O'Reilly is 71. Joe Perry from Aerosmith is 70.
Oh, that stings a little like a wasp. Woo.
Yeah. And Major League
Yeah.
Baseball All-Star first baseman Joey Votto is 37 today. Gone but not forgotten. Arnold Palmer is 29 today. To celebrate, have an Arnold Palmer. Y'all know what an Arnold Palmer is?
I know that I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't drink it, but I
I
don't
know
know.
the
exactly
No,
what
it's
you
not an
drink.
alcoholic
I don't know.
drink.
Is it like a
what it
Shirley
is.
Temple?
No, well, it's half iced tea and half lemonade.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's what an Arnold Palmer is. Charles Kuralt was born this date in 1934. Roger Maris born this date in 1934 as well.
Again,
Chart toppers.
I probably wouldn't drink it. I don't like either one of those on their own.
All of
I
our
love tea, but not a huge fan of lemon.
all of our chart toppers today were selected by 2nd District Congressman Brett Guthrie.
Hot dog extraordinaire. I was really impressed with his hot dog knowledge. He took you down. He took you further than you wanted to go on that hot dog.
Listen, that's the thing I love about Congressman
He
Guthrie.
knows everything.
Just pick a direction.
Yes, and
Just-
you'll walk 10 miles.
East, west, north, south.
I
Just
will
pick
walk
it. Just
1,000 miles.
I love that song.
by the way, that was
Sound.
Gene Shepard and Ferlin Husky, a Dear John letter,
I hope I talked over the entire thing. That was the goal.
which is not on Congressman Guthrie's iPod. I don't know that for a fact.
I don't know. Oh, dear.
1962, Ray Charles #1 with You Don't Know Me. Do I have this right? This your favorite Ray Charles song? No. Do I ask you that every time
Yes.
that
Yeah, you
we
do.
play this song? What is your favorite
I like
Ray
the
Charles
one
song?
that we use in the bumper music. What is the name of it?
Shake a Tail Feather.
No, I Was Made for Her.
I Was Made to Love Her is
I Was
Stevie
Made to-
Wonder.
Well, it should have been Ray Charles.
Okay. I'll take that up with Ray. Aretha, Spanish Harlem, #1 in 71. He didn't give me any good dish on Speaker Pelosi. What?
Do I Ever Cross Your Mind? That's my favorite Ray Charles.
Ah,
And Bonnie Raitt.
this is on Buckwheat Sings Greatest
Oh,
Hits.
I do love
Wookin' Panub. Wookin' Panub. Johnny Lee.
Did you ever find a nub?
Wookin' Panub.
Are you still looking, or did you find a nub?
Found it in nub.
Chandler has a nubbin.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. It's just weird how in a decade we went from the #1 song of Wookin' Panub into Heaven by Warrant.
Yeah,
I
it was
do
a
love this song.
fast-moving decade for
Lot
music.
changed in 10 years.
Yeah. I do too. I like all the hair bands.
Oh, Warrant.
Hair Nation is my favorite. Like,
Oh, yeah. Me
if I'm
too.
gonna just pick something to just leave on play.
Warrant was kind of a second tier type of hair band.
They
though.
were, yeah.
They could not
were a
crack
2.0.
They could not crack into the echelon of Def Leppard and Poison and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue.
And Guns N'
Yeah,
Roses.
but
yeah.
Warrant was the minor league of hair bands.
You know what happened to hair bands? The Nelson Brothers. They come along and they messed it up for everybody because they had the hair, but they didn't have the band. It was like you screwed it up. You went on mellow on it, and you completely diluted the hair band.
Warrant
world.
was lucky to get 2 albums out of the deal.
Skid Row is one of my favorites.
See, I think a lot of people would try and put Skid Row into that Def Leppard, Poison, and I wouldn't put them. I wouldn't put Skid Row in
Well,
there.
I'm sorry.
I
for
love
you.
Skid
You're
Row.
doing it wrong. 18 and Life.
18 in Life? Yes.
But that's just one song.
No, the whole tape was,
All right.
was
It's
fantastic.
The whole tape.
The whole
The
tape.
whole tape.
The front
That's
and the
how
back.
old we are.
Front and the back of the tape.
1998
All right, kids, front and back.
Aerosmith, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. And I don't want to miss a thing. All right. I know that's not one of Misty's favorite Aerosmith songs.
They diluted
but I
themselves
play
down
it.
that
I played
decade.
it today because it's Joe Perry's 70th birthday.
Yeah. Very good.
Happy birthday, Joe. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Misty Thomas, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powered by Heritage Media of Kentucky, WKHG Litchfield, Kentucky, USA, 104.9 FM, the Twin Lakes best